Hello everyone, welcome to Study IQ. So in this video, I will bring to you the important news from Reserve Bank of India of the last 6 months. Mostly I will cover from August to December and I will cover only one-liners just as a last minute revision for all of you. Now I have already covered this news in detail, explained in depth in my banking awareness video. So this is just a very quick revision video, okay? In one-liner form. Let's start. Let me first tell you the important rates that you need to know. The repurchase rate or repo rate is 4%. And for the 9th time in a row, repo rate is unchanged. Reverse repo is 3.35%. Marginal standing facility is 4.25% and bank rate is 4.25% at the moment. And this was the 5th monetary policy of financial year 22. The real GDP growth projection for this year is 9.5% by the Reserve Bank of India. The CPI inflation that is projected is 5.3% during this financial year by the RBI. Now let me tell you about the important committees of the RBI. First is the Expert Committee on the Urban Cooperative Bank. So this committee was headed by N.S. Vishwanathan. N.S. Vishwanathan. So this was an expert committee to examine the issues related to the urban cooperative banks in India and to provide a roadmap for strengthening the sector. These are all the members of the committee, but you have to remember only the chairman of the committee, N.S. Vishwanathan. Then Reserve Bank of India did approve the insolvency proceedings of Reliance Capital. Reliance Capital is a non-banking financial company and it defaulted, right? Causing great loss to the people who were the depositors. And what RBI did was then RBI superseded the board of the Reliance Capital and they appointed Nageshwar Rao as the administrator. So this was done in accordance to the power given to the RBI as per the RBI Act of 1934, Section 45IE 5A. So Nageshwar Rao is the administrator now for which company? Reliance Capital. And then there was an advisory committee also where 3 members will advise Nageshwar Rao on how to run the company. And don't forget that these insolvency proceedings are being done by NCLT or National Company Law Tribunal. National Company Law Tribunal. Now do you know who has become the new chairman of NCLT? National Company Law Tribunal. So it is R. Sudhakar. Justice Ramalingam Sudhakar. He is the former Chief Justice of the Manipur High Court. He is now the President of National Company Law Tribunal. And then there is National Company Law Appellate Tribunal. Watch out for the word A, because then A, the person name also start with A, Ashok Bhushan. Ashok Bhushan has become the President of NCLAT and R. Sudhakar has become the Chairman of NCLT. Then Reserve Bank of India had other committees also. So for example, they constituted Shyamal Gopinath Standing External Advisory Committee for evaluating the application for Universal Bank as well as the Small Finance Bank. Right? So if you want to open a Universal Bank now, you need 1000 crore and Small Finance Bank you need 300 crore. And those applications will be evaluated by Shyamal Gopinath Committee. Then there was a Reserve Bank of India panel to examine the risk associated with digital lending that was headed by Jayant Kumar Das. Reserve Bank of India also set up recently the first automated bank note processing center in Jaipur. And Reserve Bank of India RRA2 version 2 Regulation Review Authority will be M. Rajeshwar Rao. Now RBI also set up KV Kamath Committee. KV Kamath you know is the former and the first president of the New Development or BRICS Bank. So KV Kamath Committee was for corporate restructuring of loans. Basically, it was about resolution framework for COVID related stressed assets in India. Because during COVID time, there was a huge increase in the stress related assets. Then Reserve Bank of India set up a 6-member committee to evaluate the role of the asset reconstruction companies. You know about now the National Asset Reconstruction Company Limited, NARCL and IDRCL. So this committee was headed by Sudarshan Sen. RBI also set up an advisory group to assist the Regulatory Review Authority, that is M. Rajeshwar Rao, and this was headed by S. Janaki Raman. So Regulatory Review Authority was M. Rajeshwar Rao and advisory group to assist Regulatory Review Authority was S. Janaki Raman. Then there was an internal working group that was headed by P.K. Mohanty, which gave 33 recommendations and 21 out of these were accepted by the RBI. So this was about the ownership guidelines and corporate structure for private sector banks in India. Now let me tell you what is the RBI's deadline for card tokenization. So RBI's deadline is 30th of June 2022. So this is the date till which storing of card on file data is permitted, and after that all the companies have to delete the data. June 30, 2022 is the deadline for card tokenization. Reserve Bank of India authorized two banks, RBL Bank and IndusInd Bank, to collect both the direct taxes and indirect taxes on behalf of the respective government. So indirect taxes on behalf of CBIC and direct taxes on behalf of CBDT. Paytm Payment Bank got the approval from RBI to function as a scheduled payment bank. It was included into the second schedule of the RBI Act of 1934. Gujarat replaced Maharashtra as India's leading manufacturing hub according to the data from the RBI, whereas in the services sector, Maharashtra still remains number 1. Reserve Bank of India raised the cap on promoter stake in the private bank to 26% from the current 15%. What does this mean? If you open any private bank, the promoters, they must have for the first 5 years 40% stake minimum, which had to be decreased to 15% in the 15 years time. But now they can keep up to 26%. They don't have to water it down to 15%. Reserve Bank of India also is amalgamating the PMC Bank with the Unity Small Finance Bank, the Punjab and Maharashtra Cooperative Bank. Reserve Bank of India also introduced the Ombudsman mechanism for those non-banking financial company which have 10 or more branches if they are deposit taking, and if they are non-deposit taking, then they should have asset size of 5,000 crore and more. Reserve Bank of India also organized its first global hackathon, which is called Harbinger, and the full name is Harbinger Innovation for Transformation, and the theme was Smarter Digital Payments. Smarter Digital Payment was the theme. Reserve Bank of India has also issued a revised guideline for prompt corrective action for the scheduled commercial bank. This will apply from 1st of January 2022. And Reserve Bank of India has now issued the PCA framework for the NBFC, which will come into effect from 1st of October 2022. So be very watchful. The PCA framework, revised one for bank, will be from 1st January 2022 and for NBFCs will be from 1st October 2022. Reserve Bank of India has also put a limit of 1 crore. This is the maximum IPO funding limit by the NBFC. So NBFCs do give money to the high net worth individual for investing in the IPO, but that is now restricted to 1 crore per user per IPO. Then Unity Small Finance Bank is the latest small finance bank in India, and it has been opened by Centrum Financial Services and BharatPe together. Then there was the third cohort and fourth cohort of the RBI under the regulatory sandbox, where the companies can try out services and products before launching them into the market. And the theme of the third cohort was MSME lending, and the theme of the fourth cohort was prevention and mitigation of financial frauds. Indian Overseas Bank and UCO Bank, they have been taken out of the PCA framework. Now only one bank remains in the PCA framework, which is Central Bank of India. Amit Saxena has joined the RBI Innovation Hub as the CTO, Chief Technology Officer. The minimum ticket size that is set by the Reserve Bank of India for issuing securitization notes is 1 crore rupee. Reserve Bank of India has allowed the scheduled payment bank and the scheduled small finance bank now to conduct government agency business. The condition is that the scheduled payment bank or small finance bank should not be under the PCA framework or moratorium. This means that they can collect tax on behalf of the government and do many other things which government does. This is to increase the scope of the payment bank and small finance bank so that they can make some money. Kartarpur corridor, to Pakistan, there is a Kartarpur Gurudwara. So the pilgrims to Kartarpur Gurudwara, they can carry up to 11,000 rupees only. And when they enter India, they should not have more than 11,000. So 11,000 is the limit for both the entry and exit, right? And this is much lower. So for example, under the Foreign Exchange Management Guidelines of 2015, 25,000 rupees was the limit. So people were hoping they can carry 25,000 rupees when they go to Pakistan, but they can carry only 11,000 rupees. Reserve Bank of India has said that if you want to do a cross-border transaction, right, then there is a 20-digit LEI, legal entity identifier. This number is compulsory, right? 20-digit, and the limit is 50 crore. So 50 crore is the amount threshold. If you want to do a transaction more than 50 crore cross-border, then this will be applicable. And what is the deadline for this? So it is 1st October 2022. That is, it will get effected from 1st October 2022. NS Vishwanathan committee, which I told you was for Urban Cooperative Bank. Now they have suggested a 4-tier structure for Urban Cooperative Bank. So tier 1, those which have deposits up to 100 crore, tier 2 between 100 to 1000 crore, tier 3 1000 to 10,000 crore, and tier 4 above 10,000 crore. Reserve Bank of India wants to increase its regulatory oversight, right? The regulated entities, they should have more robust regulatory mechanism, right? So Reserve Bank of India has put into place something known as PRISM. What is PRISM? It's a platform. It is a workflow automation system. So it is called Platform for Regulated Entities for Integrated Supervision and Monitoring. Reserve Bank of India has empaneled these banks as agency bank. So they can do government business on behalf of the government. So which banks are these which have been empaneled recently as agency bank? Karnataka Bank, IndusInd Bank, DCB Bank, South Indian Bank, Dhanlaxmi Bank, CSB Bank, and Bandhan Bank. In the last 6 months, these 7 banks have been empaneled as agency bank. Then there are 3 banks which have been shut down by the RBI in the last 6 months. There is the Madgaon Urban Cooperative Bank based in Goa, and Dr. Shivajirao Patil Nilangekar Urban Cooperative Bank, which is based in Latur. And we also have Karnal Nagari Sehkari Bank, which is based in Panvel, which is a town in Raigad in Maharashtra. It has also been shut down. Now let's talk about the money in circulation, and this is a very important table. So you can see that the year in which there was demonetization, that is the financial year 2016-17. Then in this year, the cash to GDP ratio was 8.67%. But talk about the end of financial year 21, and it increased to 14.41%. This is the cash to GDP ratio. It can be asked in the exam. And today, if you talk about today, that is till December of this financial year, almost 30 lakh crore is the money in circulation. And you can see it was only around 13.35 lakh crore. So it has grown annually at 17%, the money in circulation, and the GDP has grown during that time annually at only 7.7%. So the cash to GDP ratio is increasing, and we will see what will be the cash to GDP ratio once this year ends. So that was the quick fire crisp video, only 10 minutes video, where I told you all the Reserve Bank of India related news. This will help in your upcoming exam, especially SBI, IBPS, PO and clerk. Thank you for watching Study IQ.